The Sports Renegades podcast on SportsTownChicago.com. All right, welcome back to the Sports Renegades here on SportsTownChicago.com. I'm Ryan Stuprich.
And I'm Ryan Risky.
We talked about the NBA and the Bulls in our first segment. Now we're going to quickly talk about the White Sox. They were doing okay. They won, 5 or 6 straight series going into the All-Star break, and then after the All-Star break, the break was bad for them. I had a feeling that, because, when you go into All-Star break, sometimes the teams really need it, like the Cubs. Sometimes teams don't want it because they're playing so well, and sometimes it ruins their momentum, like the White Sox.
Yeah, the Cubs badly needed it, except the White Sox, I believe it started out like 36 consecutive innings without a run.
Right.
They got
swept by the Angels. How do you get swept by the Angels?
And, I mean, and the Angels' pitching staff isn't good, and they were only allowed 1 run in 3 games, and, help was on the way. Justin Morneau was there. He's hitting 111.
Justin Morneau, I don't understand. I'm not sure why they
2011 All-Star team being assembled on the White Sox.
Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, did they really need him in the lineup? The lineup seemed to be doing pretty well before the All-Star break, which was kind of surprising considering they were up in the beginning of the season, then they were down in May and June, in May and part of June, and then they really went back up again. They were in the midst of the wild card race. Only I think the closest they got were 2 or 2.5 games back of a wild card spot.
Yeah. I mean, except then you get swept by the Angels, and the frustrating thing is James Shields pitched a complete game on Saturday.
I know he pitched his best game with the White Sox.
Hit. He allowed 1 hit in his 8 innings, and then a 1 run, and the White Sox lost 1-0. Matt Shoemaker struck out 13 in a complete game shutout, and my favorite part of it was the White Sox had second and third, 1 out in the top of the 9th inning, and Todd Frazier and Justin Morneau both struck out to end the game.
Yeah, I didn't think Morneau was going to do anything. I was assuming Frazier would hit at least a sac fly.
Yeah, I see. When I was watching, I was like, I don't know, because he's only hitting .215. He's probably going to strike out or pop out.
Well, he has been very productive this year as far as RBIs, home runs. He's been driving in a lot of runs. He's been kind of a clutch player for them, but he certainly wasn't a few days ago.
Yeah, there's a lot of Sox fans are fed up with the .215 average, though. I can tell you that.
Oh, yeah.
Now, if you're Kenny Williams or Rick Hahn, and let's say the White Sox finished the season 83 and 81, they missed the playoffs. Robin Ventura's contract is up at the end of the season. Do you re-sign him?
You cannot re-sign him. I would not re-sign him under any circumstances, unless they make the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, or they have a nice run at the end of the year and just miss the playoffs by like a game or 2. Yeah, do you re-sign him? Promote Rick Renteria, or look for someone from the outside?
I think you can look for somebody from the outside. I really do. I really think that's the best move for them. Although I like Rick Renteria, and he was doing a nice job with the Cubs for the 1 season he was there. I think, I think he would be best suited as a bench role, or maybe something else, first or third base coach. I don't know. But him being the manager of the team, I just don't feel like they would do that. But I do think that there are some good options outside of the team that they could look at. I mean, I don't know who, but I'm sure there are some options. And the whole thing with Robin Ventura with me is just, he had 3. He's been the manager for 4 seasons, I think.
No, he's been there since 2011.
Okay, so this is his 5th season.
No, this is number 6, I believe.
This is his 6th season.
No. 2012 was his first one. So 2012 was the year they almost made the playoffs.
12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
Yeah,
this is his 5th season. Yeah. So he hasn't, gotten the job done. He hasn't made the playoffs in those years. So
right, and that also falls on the front office. They haven't been able to put the talent together.
Yeah, I feel like the Sox really aren't going to be a new team, and they're really not going to turn the corner until Kenny Williams is out of there, like in any role. I remember last year, a few years ago, he was supposed to go to Toronto or Seattle or something, and he never did. So, I mean, he's still kind of calling the shots. I feel like if Rick Hahn was on his own, I think they would be better off.
I feel like both him and – because nowadays it's not just one guy in organizations that's making all the moves. I feel like those two are kind of like working together. I feel like it's what's happened is on both of them.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I mean, it falls on both of them, but I feel like Kenny Williams, is
I don't
in his
feel
ear.
like if Kenny was gone, I feel like the team would be about the same with Hahn in charge.
Maybe. I guess it depends on if he feels like a rebuild is necessary or not.
It was necessary, and starting in 2013 when they went 63 and 99, and they opted for the retool approach, and look where that's gotten them.
Houston did it. The Cubs did it. Boston even did it for a couple years after they won the World Series in 2013. So it's just very interesting because there's a lot of teams that go through the rebuild. Oakland's never really come out of it necessarily, but they do make the playoffs, which the White Sox can't say.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, and the thing is, like, they're just wasting the prime years of Chris Sale, Jose Quintana, and Jose Abreu, and right now, the abomination that is the catching position on the White Sox, it's unbelievable.
Isn't it awful?
Tyler Flowers is doing better than Navarro and Avila.
Yeah, and I mean, he's on a horrible team in Atlanta, and that's like White Sox South over there, like even more south. Like, you got Tyler Flowers, A.J. Przinsky, Gordon Beckham. They're all over there. They're all playing well. They're playing well by Atlanta standards, but I mean, it's crazy. That catcher position is just horrible, and I think Avila's on the DL, isn't he?
He's eligible to come back, I believe, on Thursday, and some guy sent a tweet to the White Sox that said he was going to make sure to get his tickets for that game just to see Alex Avila play.
Ooh, yeah, you got to get excited for that because, I'm sure DeAndre Navarro needs a break, too. He's not a starting catcher in the MLB, so.
No, he's kind of more of a he's a good backup, except, him and Avila are not starters, and yet they are on the White Sox.
It's sort of like the Cubs situation. Their catching situation isn't great either. At least they have a promising young prospect in Wilson Contreras who can play catcher and outfield.
Well, the White Sox did have a promising young prospect in Josh Fegley, and then they traded him for Jeff Samardzija.
Yeah, how did that work out? Over 5 ERA, almost 6 ERA with the White Sox in 1 year? I mean, it was like 5.92 or something. 4.92 maybe. I
think it was 4.96.
4.96. It was very disappointing, and that was his hometown team. He grew up a White Sox fan too, and he couldn't get it done.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going to happen with the Sox. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs.
What do you think they'll do at the trade deadline?
Yeah, I mean, that's the real question, is what they're going to do at the trade deadline. Again, I don't think they're major sellers. I think they're small buyers.
I'd say, small buyers or small sellers. Like, they might give up, like, I don't know, some veteran or something.
Yeah, I mean they're not going to get rid of Sale.
They might trade, like, a Navarro or an Avila and then try to say that, well, this guy has earned the job as the starting catcher. And then call up some guy from AAA. I mean, that's probably what's going to... They'll sell, like, some really small piece and get nothing in return.
Right. That's what they like to do, right? That's what they do every trade deadline, pretty much.
If they make a move, where last year they didn't even do anything.
No, I don't think... Well, I think last year they knew just how bad they were, and even a move like that wouldn't have helped them, although it might have helped them on the rebuilding side, but who knows. We're going to take a break. We'll come back for our final segment, which will be about the Cubs, and we're going to go through what they might do at the trade deadline, and also they've got a big series with the Mets. I think the first game tonight starts at 6 o'clock instead of 7.
I believe all 3 games are on ESPN this week.
All 3 games are on ESPN, although some of them are out of market, which means like we wouldn't get them locally. But, whatever. You're listening to the Sports Renegades on SportsTownChicago.com. The Sports Renegades podcast on SportsTownChicago.com.